Belize boasts a colorful diversity of culture, illustrated by an endless range of music, visual art, traditions, and lifestyles. Belize's diverse charm is as authentic as it is unique, and is in large part a product of our Indigenous heritage. Global climate change represents enormous challenges for the very survival of our forests and our people. The REDD+ initiative is a global response to climate change that involves collective action to slow, halt, and reverse deforestation and forest degradation, which contributes to climate change. The first phase of the REDD+ initiative, the readiness phase, includes developing national strategies, policies, and plans, and building national capacity that will be the foundation for the implementation of future REDD+ activities.
For the ITT component, it is extremely important to have that within the overall institutional arrangement or management of this readiness phase. The ITT serves as that not only a backstop, but it provides inputs from the respective Indigenous constituencies. The ITT and the role of the ITT is to then validate and provide sound responses to deliverables or outputs such as the social and environmental safeguards, right? Such as the land tenure assessment, the benefit sharing mechanism, the grievance or feedback and grievance mechanism.
The ITT has been somewhat of a pioneering module that fosters a deep level of engagement.
My main task is to help the REDD+ project to engage with the Indigenous communities, and these Indigenous communities are namely the Northern Maya Association of Belize, the National Garifuna Council, the Maya, the MLA, and JCS, and this encompasses the Mopan and the Kekchi Maya of Southern Belize. So again, it's mainly to tailor information that of the different activities of REDD+, and these include different consultancies, and make sure that the Indigenous communities can review these documents and give their proper feedback on these different activities.
The experience of BENIC, of the Belize National Indigenous Council, in the Belize REDD+ initiative has proven, though, that it is possible for such national initiatives to create a space for Indigenous peoples to participate. And that has been done through the support that REDD+ have been able to provide to the Indigenous peoples to have their own technical people to help them understand the technical natures of these policy decisions. The trick here is how can we ensure that our lived reality as a part of the solution can be understood within the technical nature of the science behind the solution to climate change. And this is what I think the Indigenous technical team of BENIC in REDD+ has served as a bridge for.
Dr. Filiberto Panedas of the Belize National Indigenous Council is a member of the Yucatec Mayan community. He described the importance of the forest to his community and what it means to be a part of the ITT.
In Yucatec, the word for plant or tree is che, and the word for animal is balche, which sort of literally means that which comes from, belongs to the tree. So there is kind of embedded in the language and certain understanding of the ecology and society. So that's the kind of thinking that, the kind of philosophy that underlies Yucatec Maya vision. So REDD+ allows, I think, these communities to think about some of these issues and to engage in the national conversation and engage with other Indigenous communities. The ITT team is responsible particularly for looking at all of these policy documents that are emerging and being able to help the Belize National Indigenous Council and its constituent members to examine them deeper and engage in a deeper kind of session. These are long documents that need to be summarized and the issues need to be identified for them for further conversation.
Like the Yucatec Maya in North and Western Belize and the Mopan and Kekchi Maya in Southern Belize, the Garinago are members of the Belize National Indigenous Council, BENIC. The Garinagos settled along the coast of Belize over 2 centuries ago and have always been connected to the forest and sea for their livelihoods.
For the Garifuna people, the forests serve as a source of food. So, we use the plants, we hunt the different animals. The materials are used to build houses, even the mud that is found in the forest. We also connect with the earth, and it's a form of, spirituality for us as well. And the herbs are used in medicine and other traditional healing practices.
Pablo Miss and his family know all too well about the bountiful gifts the forest offers, and these gifts are part of their everyday life.
But this is ginger. Grandpa will explain it to you. For us indigenous peoples, the land is just so much. It is more than just real estate. It is really the place to be and to learn to be. Here, my dad is showing my children ginger flower. Ginger flower is something that is a part of our diet. It goes into caldo. You can have it as sautéed in the morning for breakfast. This is what we talk about when we speak of the need for indigenous peoples to be a part of decisions that has to do with land, with forest, with water, and with the environment. Because it is so much a part of our very existence that whenever indigenous peoples are absent from the spaces and the corridors where these decisions are being made, this is essentially what is being denied of us, our ability to continue doing these things. It is too common that we see policies, that we see decisions being made without the presence of indigenous peoples. What happens then is that we reduce the ability of a people to continue being able to create, to recreate their spaces.
With so much at stake for indigenous people where land use and conservation are concerned, REDD Plus in Belize had spared no effort in institutionalizing their desire to maintain steady communication with those communities.
Basically, I oversee most, if not all, of the consultancies that have been contracted out, and to make sure that whatever REDD Plus activities that goes on in this readiness phase are all socially and environmentally sound. So the function of these BENIC ITT members that were identified specifically for the REDD Plus project, they look at the outputs and deliverables that come out of the consultancies, and they break it down because they're experts in indigenous issues. They look at these outputs, they break it down, they take it back to the indigenous peoples and the various constituencies identified under BENIC, and whatever input or feedback is received, they send this back to the REDD Plus office and to the consultant where the feedback, of course, is inputted into all of these documents.
Though REDD Plus is the implementing agency, the communication flow remains two-way, where the team can learn and appreciate the way of life in these communities.
The main message is definitely the importance of forest, the importance of conserving our forests. But basically what we realize that when we go to these communities, they're actually the ones who are teaching us, okay, this is actually how we live sustainably, because the indigenous communities have been living for thousands of years, depending on the forest, but, they use it sustainably. So that's something, again, that we have been learning from the indigenous groups.
Well, I believe the greatest benefit of the collaboration is the fact that as Indigenous people, we share different cultures, but when it comes to the way that we view the forest and the environment, those things are similar, and it resonates with how we approach and how we look at preservation of our culture, preservation of the forest and the land around the sea. So it connects us in that way.
Creating that space for engaging with other Indigenous communities. You have the Yucatec, the Garifuna, the Kikchi talking, and Mopan talking about this sort of issues. They're able to learn from each other. I think those are some of the immediate, tangible benefits.
I think the main success that we have so far is to bring the three Indigenous groups together, to work together, also to review these documents together and give proper feedback, and also knowing that the different groups, the different Indigenous groups actually have different realities. We actually see them as one Indigenous group, but realizing that they actually have different realities in their own groups or constituencies, as we call it.
The future of forest conservation in Belize and the pursuit of benefits from good forest management hinges on efforts like the ITT. As the REDD+ project transitions from the readiness phase to the implementation of national policies, plans, and results-based demonstration activities, it is envisioned that the ITT component would be incorporated into these future phases.
I would hope it is something that we can retain when it comes to implementation, and also when we start to discuss results-based payment. But even for us on the climate change, we hope that it is something that we can incorporate going forward with some of our initiatives that we have we're currently dealing with and in the future.
I think it's very important to recognize the contribution of all the Indigenous peoples and the Indigenous leaders that were a part of the REDD+ initiative. We cannot go without saying that the Northern Association of Maya Yucatec, the National Garifuna Council, the Maya Leaders Alliance, and Toledo Alcalde Association were very important in ensuring that we begin to chart a different way of addressing climate change, one that involves every sector of the Belizean population.